welcome to the first edition of News Brief on Canal the English. We start with the story. The last National Executive Committee meeting of the Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF, held over the weekend in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. The meeting had 2 points on the agenda. Firstly, the present prevailing situation in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Secondly, the party's national convention built for the 28th to 30th of April 2017. The chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Nijon Frundi, says concerning the killings in Bamenda and torture in Boya and other towns in the English-speaking part of the country, the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, should assume his responsibilities. Various international and local human rights defense groups have been voicing concern at the ongoing parts of violence in the English-speaking parts of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Amongst them is Amnesty International, which has called on the government to immediately launch an investigation into alleged overuse of force by security forces in Bamenda during the anti-government protest last December 8. However, at the news conference Sunday in Yaoundé, government spokesman Issa Chiroma Bakari simply ignored the amnesty call. And the Minister of Communication, Issa Chiroma Bakari, as we've heard at the weekend, granted a press conference in Yaoundé on the last crisis that rocked Bamenda, chief town of the northwest region of Cameroon. And this excerpt has been selected for us by Tabby Clarkson.
November 8, 2016, CPDM militants were preparing to attend a meeting organized by the Mezam 1 CPDM section and presided over by the Secretary General of the said party in the presence of the Prime Minister, head of government. The Bamenda ceremonial ground, everything was in place for the harmonious conduct of the public meeting in Bamenda, duly authorized by the competent authorities, when some highly motivated individuals and acting by groups visibly prepared and perfectly organized started to carry out acts of protesterism and urban guerrilla to clearly obstruct the holding of this public meeting. In their destructive madness, these protesters, who had become real insurgents, began to erect barricades on roads in order to hinder traffic, burn many vehicles, burn tires on the road, siege and then burning public buildings, including schools and hospitals, taking hostages, students, patients, and medical personnel as and assaulting natural persons.
Recent years, Cameroonian authorities and farmers have been implementing diverse strategies intended to enable the country sustainably step up its cocoa production and sales on both the local and international markets. The overall goal, according to the government, is to attain an annual production rate of 600,000 tons by 2020. But fresh figures from the National Cocoa and Coffee provide that a cause for alarm. The data rendered public over the weekend indicate that Cameroon's cocoa export has witnessed a disturbing decline since the launch of the season last August. More than 1,300 teachers have received their end of training certificates that qualify them for the job market. The teachers are graduates from the Higher Technical Teachers Training College here in Douala Littoral Region. The rector of the University of Douala presided over the ceremony and instructed the graduates to be disciplined and hard-working. Out of the 1,338 teachers who came out for the section of technical education, 38 others are guardian counselors. We now talk culture, where the sons and daughters of the 14 clans that make up the Po community have been cautioned on the need to reconcile with one another if they must continue the legacy of their ancestors. This was the advice of Reverend Father Randan Toko during a Thanksgiving Mass to mark the 2016th edition of the Po Festival that held in Adia in the Sanaga Maritime Division. Activities to mark the ceremony that took place at the banks of the River Sanaga included, amongst others, a canoe race and traditional dances. The Minister of Culture, Narcis Muele Kombi, and a host of other dignitaries attended the Po Festival that took place under the theme, Rebuilding the Foundation. We now talk sports. Cameroon gets 3 nominations at the GLOCAF Awards in the categories of Female Player of the Year and Women's National Team of the Year. 2 of Cameroon's women's national team players who took part in the 10th edition of the African Women's Cup competition that just ended here in category have the highest representation in the category Best Female Player of the Year. Midfielder Raisa Fojo, who scored the lone goal against Ghana that qualified Cameroon for the 2016 AFCON final, is representing Cameroon in this category alongside the best player of the 2016 African Women's Cup of Nations, Cameroon's forward Abedi Ogene. In the category of the GLOCAF Best Female National Team of the Year, Cameroon is nominated with Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. The results of the ongoing votes will be announced at a special gala night on the 5th of January 2016, and this will be in Nigeria. Out of the country, the Gambia's Electoral Commission chief has warned President Yahya Jammeh that his bid to overturn the election results will not change the fact that he lost. Mr. Jammeh, who had accepted defeat and promised to retire to farming, later on Saturday said he would challenge his defeat in the Supreme Court. He says the poll were allegedly marred by irregularities. And in Egypt, the Coptic community has held a funeral service for 25 Christians killed in a bombing on Sunday at a church in Cairo. The spiritual head of Egypt's Orthodox Christians, Pope Tawadros II, led the service and at one point quietly prayed in front of the victims' coffins that were laid in front of the altar. There will be more news at 3 p.m. Program continues on Canal de English.